Here in the U.S., President Biden is keeping his eye on 2024, continuing his battleground blitz today with a stop in Florida this afternoon. He's set to speak at the University of Tampa, expected to focus on some big-ticket issues like Social Security, Medicare, and health care costs. Just yesterday, fresh off his State of the Union address, we saw the president make a stop in Wisconsin, where he drove home his economic successes.
We've created more jobs in 2 years. More jobs in 2 years than any president's created in a single 4-year term. Look, unemployment rate is 3.4%, a 50-year low. Gas prices are down more than $1.50. Inflation has fallen 6 months straight. The economy is growing at a solid clip. Folks, I hate to disappoint them, but the Biden economic plan is working.
NBC News White House correspondent Allie Raffa joins us now with more on the president's agenda. Allie, good morning. Good to see you. So what were the main takeaways from the president's speech in Wisconsin yesterday?
Yeah, Zincle, good morning. Well, this was stop one of the Biden administration's 20-state 30-event post-State of the Union blitz, where the president is talking about everything he's been able to do over the last 2 years and everything he wants to do over the next two. He talked about things like his economic plan, his infrastructure plan. He talked about how his plans will help not only people in Wisconsin, but people all over the country. He talked about job growth and also those minute details that he talked about in the State of the Union speech, things that surprised a lot of people when he talked about things like those hotel fees or airline fees that are tacked on to Americans' bills, fees that he says are preventing American people from earning an extra buck. So a lot of familiar themes that we've heard him talk about even as far back as the 2020 campaign trail, but a lot of new topics he talked about, not only in the State of the Union, but also in this speech yesterday, Zincle.
And Allie, we know the president is going to be in Florida. What are you expecting him to touch on, especially given that we know Democrats have not won this state since 2012?
Yeah, Florida, once, a pretty purple state, now pretty solidly red. Democrats actually don't hold a single statewide office in Florida right now, but it's a battleground state. Democrats really don't think they can afford to not pay attention to, considering it would be, if they don't, a freebie for Republicans in 2024. So this is really strategic, this visit on the part of the Biden administration. This is the administration knowing that this is not only the home state of, obviously, former President Trump, now again a 2024 presidential candidate, but this is also the home state of two likely 2024 Republican rivals, Governor Ron DeSantis and Senator Rick Scott. Of course, Rick Scott, one of those Republicans that President Biden called out during the State of the Union for suggesting those cuts to things like Medicare, things like Social Security. It is also not lost on the Biden administration of how many seniors are living in Florida. So this is a key state that they're visiting today. You can expect him to bring up the fact that, again, that Rick Scott has suggested these things. And this is really setting the stage, really an opportunity for President Biden to contrast himself with Republicans, while also setting the stage for what's becoming more and more likely to be this re-election campaign, Zincle.
Definitely some speeches to watch and a state to watch. Allie Raffa, thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.